Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. I hope it finds you well out there. And going to be another great day here in the Valley of the Sun. You know, it's so funny. Like, it's been super cold this year everywhere, but like Arizona. I mean, really, seriously, it's been absolutely just tremendous. Great weather for the golf event that's going on this week. Of course, we got the Super Bowl coming up, kind of the end of the holiday season, as I like to refer to it, Super Bowl weekend. But what a year so far 2025 has been, as we've got more tariff news. We got more troops at the border. And what about jobs, as the jobs numbers will start rolling in? Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. You know what we do. The physical delivery of wealth insurance, as we like to call it, gold and silver. Nobody does it better. Talk about, 29 years now we've been doing this. And it's interesting as we continue to tell you what's going to happen. You know, it's back to the same thing, which is wait and pay more. I mean, that's just kind of where it is. And I think everybody, all of us are kind of like, man, what's going to happen? And none of us really know, right? We don't know. Like, yesterday we told you Mexico, hey, okay, we agree to send troops and try to stop the flow of drugs. And, you almost kind of laugh because doesn't it kind of feel like sending Mexican troops to the kind of defeats the purpose of sending anybody to the border, right? Don't they kind of work for the cartels? I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe that's too big of a general statement. Did Canada yesterday? They're going to do the same thing. Now, this is a 30-day reprieve. When it comes to China, the tariffs have started, and China has reciprocated with a 15% tariff on a bunch of U.S. products. Trump and Xi Jinping are not going to talk until Friday. Let's just be guessing, because I don't know. I mean, we don't have enough information. Feel like these tariffs are going to stay. And then at the end of this 30 days, now they say 30 days. Like I said, February's only got 28 days in it, but okay, whatever, however that works. I have a feeling that we're probably going to get tariffs on Canada and Mexico, but it won't be 25%. That's what I'm hoping, right? Obviously, we don't know that, but we haven't seen. Well, I think a lot will depend on Friday. If on Friday we still have tariffs with China, then I get Jason. That'll be my feeling. If the tariffs stay in place with China, my guess is at 30 days from now we'll be talking about a similar tariff with Canada and Mexico. And again, remember, there's only one real reason. And what I mean by that is, why do we not have to have some tariffs? They've got to get money they want to extend the tax cuts. People forget, the last time around, Donald Trump lowered the corporate tax rate. He also gave, gosh, I can't get away with just doing that. I got to give the public something, right? So here's that tax cut expires this year. See, ours was only temporary. He wants to come back in and have that go on, and he's going to need money to do it. And I'm sorry, but the Doge guys aren't going to come up with anywhere close to enough money. So, Jason, that's my feeling on what is going to be on the tariff. So right now, Mexico and Canada, they're going to send, I think they're sending 10,000 police or troops to the border. So that's 20,000. And 30 days from now, we'll revisit it. China, the tariffs have started. China has responded with their own tariffs. And they're going to talk about what's going to come next on Friday. So I don't think we'll really know unfortunately, probably until we get back from the weekend on Monday as to whether or not what we can expect in the next, I guess, in March when it comes to Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, and I don't know, Joe. I can't help to think that the main negotiation in China, I mean, I think the tariffs are because China's having economic problems, and a tariff would make that worse for them. And a trade war further on would make it worse. So I keep looking at the Treasury holdings of China, how it just keeps going down. They're only a couple billion more than England now, United Kingdom. Well, I get the feeling they have to agree to start buying treasuries, and everything gets happy again. Because if you look at Canada and Mexico over the last year, they've been increasing their holdings. So I'm thinking, you've got it right, where if China doesn't play ball, they got to put the tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because that's where China sneaks their stuff in, and it has nothing to do with Mexico or China to begin with, right? You can throw some fun stuff in about the border and some other stuff, to play it up. But I think that's all has to do with China not buying treasuries, and they could just keep selling. I think that's the negotiation, Joe. That's where I see it. If China doesn't want them, tariffs, right?
Well, let's just say that it's going to be a very interesting next 30 days. We'll be back. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Tuesday. A quick look in at the market. Right now, the Dow is up 80 points. The S&P's up 30. The NASDAQ's up 230. The 10-year note, the 10-year note has swung a lot today, but right now, 254, back to unchanged. Crude oil, which at one point was down several dollars, has reversed course. Not quite back to even yet. We've got an update. Remember, I've said, I think Iran is on the clock. We've got an update for you there. So this is going to become even more interesting. If it wasn't all interesting enough already, gold's a new all-time record. I get used to that again. Up another $20 here, $28.37. It's been as high as $28.43. And if things go the way that I think they're going, don't be surprised. We got 2,900 gold before the end of the week. Don't be surprised. Doesn't matter, because who cares, right? Where is gold going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? And I think the one thing that is for certain, we are going to have significantly higher prices, because the whole world is in the same boat. We're not unique. We're not unique. We have a fiat money system. The world has a fiat money system, and it's gone broke, right? The only option is rein in the spending, go through a horrible, something that would make the Great Depression look good, or massively try to grow your way out of it. And they've told us what they're doing. I mean, it's not like we're guessing, right? They've said it. Hey, we're going to try to grow our way out of it. By the way, speaking of growing, here comes silver, up 37 right now, 31.94. Silver has been as high as 32.25. And again, don't worry, the 30s is going to look really cheap with silver as you look out here. Continue to be diversified. I know you're like, well, but I want to wait and see what happens. Haven't we been telling? I'm telling you what's going to happen. We've been telling you what's going to happen. There's no magic here, right? The real big steps that are coming are painful steps. There's no good choice, right? There's not, look at what we did yesterday. Let me give you a good example. When you've got to spend $6 or $7 to get $1 of GDP growth, that's a huge problem. And guess what? They've just told us we need to grow our way out of it. What? Well, how do you do that? Well, we got to spend even more money, right? That's the plan. It's probably real. I'll be honest with you. I think it's the only plan. I hate to say it, because the other plan, stop the spending and crash everything. That plan's just that's brutal, right? There's no hope. Right? We can go a little bit here, but that's all that it truly is. Be smart. You got big IRAs, but you're like, Joe, but the Dow's 44,000. The S&P is 6,000. I'm going to tell you right now, Wall Street doesn't go up 20% a year, 2 years in a row. It doesn't. Well, it does, and when it does, it gets smacked. Call us. We can help you with a gold and silver IRA. It's so simple. I mean, it takes a little bit. You got to do some paperwork, but we can get it done for you. You got big money sitting in the bank. How much more does it have to lose before you decide? And I get it, but Joe, I like it. Every month, I know what it is. Every once in a while, I'll go to the ATM. I'll take out some money, and I'll say, yes, I want my receipt. So it can show that I got $200,000 in the bank because I just like it. Feels good. Makes me feel good. I get all warm and tingly inside. Because I did it right. I didn't waste all my money, and I don't have 4 ex-wives and, spent it frivolously and went on vacations and bought stuff I couldn't afford. No, I live within my means. I did it right. Every year, that number just gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, really think about it. 20 years ago, how many cars could you have bought with $200,000? At just the, average price. What, 15? Maybe 20? Something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, what are you down to today? 5? And that's it. And that's not buying something super nice. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's why you call. That's why you put gold away. They've told you exactly, and this is what drives me insane. They've already told you what they're going to do. Have you not listened to Donald Trump? Donald Trump has said it. We got to have growth. We got to grow somehow. But think about this. 3% GDP growth means you have debts of $2 trillion. I don't mean to laugh, but that's insanity. And here's what they're saying. We got to grow more. Yeah. That's what's coming. There's no guessing. I'm sitting there, and it's so funny because I said, hey, don't be surprised, 2,900 and this and that. And we just like a broken record. Another all-time high, another all-time high, another all-time high. The rest of the world, I don't know if you saw it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Everybody's buying gold again. Now even Taiwan, right? Wait, I thought they were, we're their protector. Right? Aren't they supposed to go out and as Jason said, no, you don't buy gold. Right? You go out and buy treasuries. That's what you do. And you know what's so funny is they didn't buy just a little bit. And when we're sitting here and looking that Taiwan now adding to its gold holdings has risen to 424 metric tons of gold, and they've increased it by 20% in the last 3 months. I mean, that's what's going on. Azerbaijan, they bought 20 tons, which is that's huge for a country like them. Their total gold holdings for the year up 45 tons, right? They almost increased their gold holdings by 50%. Of course, the Chinese continue to be in the gold markets. And right now, to give you an idea, all of these countries, they're racing to get to 20 and 30. Some of them are even going as high as 50% of their reserves in gold. If you think that China's done, right now, at least their official gold holdings, it's only at 5%. So there is a long, long way to go. And just to understand, why does that matter to you? Why does that matter? Joe, why do I care about Taiwan? And them buying gold. Azerbaijan, right? Why do I care about them? Because here's the thing. They're part of the banking system, a big part. That's what they are. And what they're telling you is, boy, you better get diversified. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what they're saying. Do we want to buy treasuries? What are we going to do with our money? See, they're smart enough. They also know that they don't keep their money in the bank. That's what's so hilarious. People think that these rich companies keep their money in the bank. They don't. I mean, they got to keep what they need. They got to buy stuff, make payroll, all that stuff. But they pour all their profits into a whole lot of different things. And what these central banks are saying to you is, if you're sitting there holding fiat money, you're a fool. That's what they're saying. You're a fool. And they've been getting ready and ramping these things up. When did this start? It started with the financial crisis. It did. Remember, they thought they could outsmart the laws of economics. Right after the financial crisis and really leading up to it, all these countries, everyone stopped selling gold, and everyone's been buying it ever since. But you know what's funny is ever since COVID, have you noticed how they set records every year for the amount of gold that they've been buying? Because they understand what all of these countries did. Not just us, all of them, every one. And here we are. Jason was saying, hey, China's not in great shape. Japan, they're not in great shape. South Korea's not in great shape. Europe's not in great shape, right? Nobody's really in great shape. And yet they all agree that we've got to spend even more money, which leads these central banks to do what? Get more diversified, increasing their gold holdings. And this is something, like I said, this isn't, hey, we're gonna put 5% of our holdings into gold. That's not what they're talking about. It's not what they're talking about. Anywhere close to that. Remember, people, you say, well, yeah, so, maybe you put, 3, 4, 5% into gold. Yeah. That's not going to be a big enough hedge. It's just not going to be. Right now, gold's up $25 here, $28.40. Silver back above $32, up 50 cents at $32.07. When we get back, we got our first number, the JOLTS number. How many job openings are there, and what can we expect? So tomorrow we get ADP. Thursday we get jobless claims. Friday we get the government jobs number. So Friday's kind of a big day. We get government job, or not government job. The government tells us how many jobs were created. We'll be looking at how many were government. And then, of course, word on the China tariffs. I don't know anything. I don't have any inside information. But I have this feeling that those tariffs are going to stay. That's just what I think. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason will be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Tuesday as the tariffs on China and Mexico have hit a pause. The rest of it, though, China's tariffs have gone in place. They're going to meet on Friday. China has responded with tariffs of their own. More tariffs to come. JOLTS. They came out and said job openings have plummeted. And, of course, let's face it, a lot of these job openings aren't real, but down by 556,000 jobs month over month, down to 7.6 million. By the way, that is the lowest since the COVID crisis. I'm sorry, the second lowest since the COVID crash, and pretty much every sector reporting less job openings. I think we were kind of expecting that. If you're a rate cut person, that would be bullish for you. But overall, the jobs market will get ADP tomorrow. Like I said, jobless claims on Thursday. We're going to be looking at that government number, though. If it's true. Now, we've got to remember, this is still this is going to be a January number, so Trump wasn't quite in. We may have to go one more month here. But remember, the government was big in these job opening numbers, really big. So it's going to be something where softness in the labor market, that will compound things. That'll make things more difficult, but we'll see, right? Because then you kind of say, well, we're getting all these illegals and throwing them out, and the border has come to a trickle. So that could actually, it's kind of odd. It'll put some pressure on certain industries, and it may alleviate jobs in others, right? Because, those 3 million people every year that were coming over, they needed places to live. They needed food, right? They got phones. They needed stuff. So going to be interesting that this is the first look that we've got, and it was a very much bigger than expected drop in the number of job openings, but we will continue to watch this week. We may have to go another week, but the bigger news, President Trump today signing another executive order. This one, restoring maximum pressure on Iran. This is coming from Donald Trump, another executive order. according to to Reuters, with the intended aim of thwarting all paths towards a nuclear weapon. Also, being reported that Trump, the aim at driving Iran's oil exports to zero. So this is, hey, this is not playing around, right? So this is something where we've heard things like we don't want them to get a nuclear weapon, right? We've heard that a lot in the past. We've heard about sanctions and oil, but they're now saying that the Treasury and the State Department plan to implement a campaign aimed at driving Iran's oil exports to zero. Like I said, crude bounced $2 on the news, and this is going to be something where, again, if we're going max pressure on Iran, max pressure on Russia, max pressure on Venezuela, this is going to drive energy prices without a doubt. Now the tariffs on China today kind of helping, right? Because let's face it, as everybody knows, right? Tariffs aren't great for economic growth. But I just, again, want to point out some things that make it very easy when we're looking at what we do, right? We focus primarily on gold. What's gold going to do with this? What does gold do with higher energy prices? Well, it goes higher, right? Are we going in 30 days to tariff Canadian energy? I think we will. Do I think it's going to be 25%? I do not. Now, I'll have more on that Monday. We'll see what happens with China, but I just have this feeling, like I said, I've been saying it all along, they need to generate money. But I will say this, there is absolutely a downpour of money coming into the gold markets as we speak here. It continues to hit new all-time record highs. You guys need to get in. You need to do the same. Here's what's available right now. $20 gold pieces now, $28.95. $28.90. It's getting very difficult now to find any gold below $3,000. It just is. It's hard to do. On top of that, though, today, $10 Liberties. I'm going to run them on special. You're going to save $35, $14.95. So that'll keep you below the $3,000 level if you buy two of them. $14.95 on $10 Liberties at 800-951-0592. By the way, 5-ounce silver bars, $180. Silver rounds at $7.10, and those are great deals. I mean, you got silver here back above $32. Silver Eagle $7.65. I really think, Jason, we're going to see the highs from last year. That silver touched $35 last year. That is going to fall, and I think that's going to fall. Don't be surprised if that falls in the next 30 days, that we'll have a new higher silver price going back to, 2011, right, type of time when, remember, silver hit $50 that one day. We are setting ourselves up as we're watching some of this stuff play out now. They want to drive Iranian oil exports to zero. That's a lot of oil that has to be made up, especially if I know what we're talking about doing the same thing to Venezuela and the same thing to Russia, right? Man, that just looks like there's going to be a lot of room for gold and silver to take off. Patriot Radio News Hour will be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Gotten some details now out of China. A 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas imports from the United States. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see what coal country, what happens there, if that's going to affect jobs there. And again, just so you know, I think China is waiting till February 10th for these to come into play. So essentially they're going to say, hey, we're giving you a week. The call is supposed to be on Friday, so we'll see what happens there. Also, liquefied natural gas, 10% higher duties on American crude, agriculture machinery, and certain cars. China also said that it will have additional levies of that the U.S. is 10%, seriously violates the WTO rules. They're going to go to the WTO. They also said, Jason, and this one may be the one that's more interesting, is the talk that they will start significantly restricting these metals, right? So the metals that that we need for the military and all of those things. By the way, the offshore yuan was little changed this morning, and we'll have to watch the dollar renminbi thing, right? The renminbi has been very, matter of fact, China's been weakening it on purpose, right, to kind of offset the tariffs, right? If they tariff at 10%, but their currency drops 10%, right? It's not as impactful, but we'll have to wait and see. But it is clear that the Chinese have targeted energy, which, again, I think drives up prices for everybody everywhere. And speaking of driving up prices, this one really caught my eye, and I knew it was going to be big. State Farm, by the way, go ahead and put in your insurance company. By the way, still California's largest home insurer has asked the state of California for an emergency rate hike of 22%. Wow. They're saying that the fires have put the company in dire financial state. A dire financial state. State Farm General, the largest insurer in California, notifying the state of California that they are in dire financial situation, and said that they need a 22% increase. And, Jason, it looks like they're saying that they need immediate approval, and that they are also asking for a 38% hike for renter dwellings and 15% hike for the tenants that are renting from. So think about this. And it looks like, Jason, they're saying we need this right now. They want these to take effect on May the 1st. So, again, when we talk about, inflation and everything else, this is the type of stuff that happens. They also said their automobile insurance wing said the company has already received over 8,700 claims and paid out more than $1 billion to customers, and says that it expects to pay out significantly more, and warning the insurance regulator there that get ready, we need major increases in car insurance. By the way, California insurers have lost $2.8 billion over the last 9 years. So, Jason, again, no let up in sight here. And these are, when you're talking 20, 30, how about if you own apartment complexes? They want to go up almost 40%, 38% increase. And then if you're buying renters insurance, we're going to slap you with 10%.
Yes, inflation is rampant. It's been a while since I've said it, Joe, but I'm doing some gold numbers. Joe's talking about the higher prices. We're going to always talk about the higher prices. This is why you hold gold instead of cash. I was looking at the gold spot price in June of 2019, before the economic wind started blowing hard. And essentially, when 2019 and the reverse or the repo market started having trouble, and then COVID showed up, essentially gold went to 2,000. And I did that numbers. That's 42%. And then it kind of went down and went back to 2,000 in 2021. Then it went down and went back to 2,000 in 2022. At the end of 2023, when the so-called inflation was getting better, when the emergency of COVID was sort of behind us, we essentially had $2,000 gold. So 42%. And that was gold being a leading indicator of inflation, because the inflation really hit in 2022, right, Joe? 2021, late 2022. It was a leading indicator. What has gold done as of 2024 coming into this year? Well, we're at 2840 over 2,000. I think the inflation coming is worse than what we had. We're at 42% again. 2,000 to 2840, that's another 42% from the 2,000 level, Joe, and I don't think it's stopping. I think the really bad inflation that you're talking about, that we talk about, we're going to be well past that 42% in the next year. Where's it going to be in the next 2 years? We're going to be way above that 42%. It is rolling fast here.
I just want to know what happened to the 2% increases in the insurance. Your Social Security, you only got 2.5%. And they're raising insurance premiums by double digits right now. That math just doesn't work. We'll be back. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Gold's up $24 here. 28.40. Silver up 61 cents now. 32.18. By the way, if you're interested, TV gold 28.72. TV silver 33.03. Remember, those are April and March contracts. They're right. They're going to be the future spot price here. Yeah. 800-951-0592. I've got 25 $20 gold pieces at $28.95. And then, unfortunately, right, you can add another $50 to that after this. $10 Liberties, all the way down to $14.95. Save $35 on the silver side. Jump on this here. 5-ounce silver bars, $180. Rolls of silver rounds, $710. Silver Eagles, $765. 800-951-0592. And Jason, we got a big rest of the week. We're going to get more Fed talk. Obviously, Friday will be the biggest day, as we'll learn about the jobs numbers and then what's going to happen with the tariffs with China. I think this is a little different, because you notice he didn't do the 25% thing, right? He did the 10% thing. I don't know that there's a reprieve here. We'll see. Let's hope that there is. I kind of think not. The good news, at least Mexico and Canada, for 30 days, we've got a hiatus. I think at the end of the 30 days, we're more than likely going to get a tariff. But, Jason, a smaller one. Probably, I'm looking at that 10%. That may be the number.
Well, the new Treasury Secretary was talking about across-the-board tariffs. That would be for everybody. Yep. So I guess at that point, Canada... Yep. At that point, Canada and Mexico would just have to concede. And across-the-board tariffs means across-the-board higher prices for everybody else. That's just the way it's going to be. And gold's going to go.
And I know some of you that watch a lot, Trump already has told Europe, you're next. But again, I think the biggest news today probably coming on the news of China saying they want to take their oil exports to zero. So that will definitely put pressure onto the energy markets. I mean, earlier this morning, I thought crude oil was going to be below $70 a barrel, and it's now basically back up to 72 and change. And Jason, I think this is something where 72 and change, while they wait to hear more details about exactly how that's going to play out as well. So Europe, you're on notice, right? When I get done with China, your tariffs are coming next. So, Jason, like I said, gold's going to go here, 800-951-0592. And I guess we'll just wait for tomorrow and see what other executive orders come out.
It's very scary, Joe. It just seems like we got very scary inflation might be coming this way. We might be seeing something we've not seen in our lifetimes coming, Joe. I can see why there's some nervous people out there, Joe. What are we looking at if gold's going to do this in 1 year's time, what basically it did in several years' time back in 2019? High prices, Joe, is going to really hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, just remember the 70s gold run. We'll be back tomorrow.